Hello everyone, welcome back to What If No One Sponsored Ash Part 3. So I got nothing more to say, so let me get into the story. So Ash would be visibly disgusted by the smell of perfume in Celadon City, as Brock wouldn't mind it. As when they began to get closer to Celadon Gym, the smell would get even worse, so Ash would cover his nose even more. As when they arrived, Brock would be smitten by Erica, but Erica would notice that Ash wasn't interested in the smell of perfume, as she would then completely ignore Brock and ask Ash why he was covering his nose. As Brock would then go inside the Celadon Gym, as he wanted to see what was going on in there. As Erica would walk towards Ash a bit more and ask him what his matter was. What his problem was, as Ash would then say that he didn't like the smell of perfume, and that only smelly people who don't shower wear perfume, that the smell is just weird and strange. This would annoy Erica so much that she would knock Ash down and ban him from the gym. As when Brock got inside the Celadon Gym, all of the women would be creeped out by him, but he would be completely in love and wouldn't be able to realize this. As he was admiring the place, before he was going to begin a conversation with all of them, Ash would sneak his way into the gym and make his presence known. The way how Ash made his way into the gym was at the top of the Valplume flower. On the gym, there was a hole which I think that people can sneak through to get into the gym, and Ash used Pidgeotto, who dropped him through the hole into the gym. So Ash would tell Erica that he deserves his gym badge and that it's unreasonable to not give him an opportunity because of his opinions on perfume. As Erica would think for a bit and understand Ash's point, as would then be Pidgeotto versus Weepinbell. As Pidgeotto would use a gust, a decent chunk of damage, as Weepinbell would use a poison powder which would poison Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto would go for a quick attack to finish off Weepinbell. As Gloom would then be sent out by Erica. As Gloom would then go for a Razor Leaf for a decent chunk of damage. Not really, it won't really do as much as Erica thought, but she would still be content with this result. She knew the poison was splitting down at Pidgeotto. As Pidgeotto would then be knocked to the floor, as would then be unconscious, as the poison had gotten to it. As Ash would then send out his Dragonair. His Dragonair would go for Dragon Rage for a decent chunk of damage, as when Gloom went for Razor Leaf. Dragonair would move so fast that would dodge almost all the leaves, and the leaves that couldn't dodge would phase through with the extreme speed, as would then charge towards Gloom with an extreme speed to finish off Gloom. As Ash would turn Dragonair, as Erica would then give Ash the Rainbow Badge, saying that he did incredibly well, and that he was right, and that anyone with any opinions on perfume should be allowed to challenge the gym, and that she almost denied the talented young man the opportunity to get a gym badge. As Ash would then leave, as the events of when Ash and Brock got attacked by Mankey, I think would go different, as I think that Brock should get Mankey in this timeline, as I always thought Brock was more suited for a Pokemon like Mankey, as he was more experienced and smarter than Ash, so I think I would respect him from the jump. As in the Grand Prix, Mankey had cleared through majority of its matches until it got to a Machamp, and the Machamp had knocked it back with a cross chop after a long and hard battle. As Mankey would step back into position, and because of the damage it received, it would be angry, which would cause it to evolve into Primate, as would then use 2 Mega Punches on Machamp, which would finish off Machamp. As Brock would progress to the finals against Anthony, as would be the Primate versus Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan would go for a Mach Punch to do decent damage to his Prime would go for a low kick to do decent damage to Anthony's Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan would go for a Scalp Cut, which would be a critical hit, which would leave Mankey almost in red health, as Mankey would stand back up, which would activate its Anger Point ability and raise all of its attack stat to the maximum. As Mankey would then go for Mega Punch, which would be dodged by Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan would use a Scalp Cut, which would be avoided by Mankey, as Mankey would use his strongest attack, being a Mega Kick, which would finish off Hitmonchan. Not Mankey, Primate, my mistake. Primate would be happy with this win, as Brock would return it. As Anthony would then shake Brock's hand and say that he truly was a champion. As Brock would be the champion, Brock and Primate would be the champions of the Grand Prix tournament, as Brock would be elated. And in this timeline, Brock would be a lot smarter than Ash and would be able to recognize a deadbeat scammer when he sees one. So, when Ash arrived in the Fuchsia City, he immediately make his way to the gym, where he would meet an unfortunate sight: a Koga with a Team Rocket logo on his boots, as Koga would say that he had to join Team Rocket, or Giovanni and his admins threatened to do unspeakable things to his little sister Aya and his daughter Janine, and that he didn't want to join, but he had to do what he had to do to keep his family safe. As Ash would then say that he understands and that he's gonna help Koga get through this, but first he has to beat Koga in a gym battle, which Koga would accept. So then be Horsey versus Weezing. Weezing would use a Sludge Bomb, which would be quickly outmaneuvered by Horsey, as Horsey would then use a Bubble Beam after Ash checked the encyclopedia for any moves that Horsey knew, which would slow down Weezing. As Weezing would use double hits, which would do a lot of damage onto Horsey, which would almost knock out Horsey. But from Horsey's sheer will begin to glow, it would evolve into a Seadra. A Seadra would then launch a Hydro Pump after Ash checked the encyclopedia to see the strongest move that Seadra could learn, as the move would do a lot of damage to Weezing. This would then be a clash between Hydro Pump and Sludge Bomb, and after a long clash, Hydro Pump would overwhelm Sludge Bomb and finish off Weezing. This would then be Golbat versus Seadra, as Seadra will be hit by an incredibly powerful wing attack, which will do a lot of damage as it responds with a Bubble Beam. This would then be hit by a Poison Fang by the opponent Golbat, which would finish off Seadra, as Ash would then send in his strongest, being Dragonair. Dragonair would go for an extreme speed, which would do a lot of damage on Golbat. As Golbat would then bite Dragonair as hard as it can and put all the poison within its body into Dragonair, which would severely poison Dragonair. Dragonair would avoid a Dragon Rage and use an Air Cutter for a lot of damage on Dragonair, as Golbat would then be paralyzed by a Paralyze Wave, as it would then be a clash between Dragon Rage and Sludge Bomb. But eventually, the paralysis would get the best of Golbat, and Golbat would be finished by Dragon Rage, as Ash would return his Dragonair. As Koga would then give Ash, he won't give Ash the badge yet, but he would say that Ash was a strong trainer, and that it was a good match, as Ash would say that Koga should quit Team Rocket, as he is going to stop Team Rocket along with Koga and keep Koga's family and the rest of the Kanto region and the Pokemon world safe from Team Rocket's wrath, as Koga would rip the logo off his boot and say that he was happy to join Ash in his crusade, as Koga would then give Ash the Soul Badge, as Ash would leave. As I think I should now cover the events of the controversial episode 35. I don't usually cover it because I don't think there'd be any value covering this episode, but I think I should cover because I think there's something I want to discuss in this episode. So, at Dragon Valley, Ash's Dragonair would feel a sense of belonging that it didn't truly understand, as it felt like it knew this place from somewhere. But Dragonair wouldn't be able to truly know or remember, as the only memories it had of its past were cruel experiments by mad scientists and a tall, well-built man who was in a business suit, commanding experiments on it, with grunts, with red R's on them, being Team Rocket surrounding the labs. That's all Dragonair remembered. As now, I think we need to focus on another episode, being the episode where the older brothers tried to help evolve a younger brother's Eevee. So Ash would purchase a Moonstone, a Thunderstone, a Waterstone, and a Firestone to help evolve Eevee and Nidorina, as he would ask Eevee if it wanted to evolve from either the Firestone, the Waterstone, or the Thunderstone. Eevee would look at the stones for a bit, but would ultimately walk away and would refuse them, as Ash would quickly return it after understanding Eevee's choice, and would quickly make his way to the stones and would collect all but the Moonstone. He would then send out Nidorina and ask it if it wanted to evolve, and Nidorina wanted to get stronger and immediately made contact with the stone. Ash would then begin to evolve as would grow in size from a Nidoqueen. As after using the Moonstone, Ash would collect the Moonstone and make his way to Grandpa Canyon, where the nearest ports and docks were for getting to Cinnabar Island. As when Ash made it to Grandpa Canyon, he would meet Gary, as Gary would then question what Ash was doing here, as he was frustrated as he couldn't get any real fossils from the Grandpa Canyon, as Ash would say that he was on his way to Cinnabar Island, as Gary would then say that he was also on his way, as Ash would then realize that his rival was frustrated about something, or would taunt him, saying that if he was having a hissy fit about not being able to get any fossils, this would cause an argument, as the argument would result in a battle between Ash and Nidoqueen, between Ash and Gary, as Ash would send out a Nidoqueen, as Gary would then send out his, as Ash would then go for a double kick, which would do a decent chunk of damage, after hitting twice, as Nidoqueen would then go for a Mega Horn, which would do a decent chunk of damage, as Gary would know that Ash wouldn't know about the moves of Nidoqueen, as he could tell by the way he was commanding he didn't really know what to do with Nidoqueen, as Ash would pull up his encyclopedia to see what moves Nidoqueen had, as Gary would then mock him and say that he didn't even know what his own Pokemon could do, and that Ash was a joke of a trainer. As then, this would enrage Ash so much he would intentionally look for the strongest move that Nidoqueen could learn, being Earthquake, as Earthquake would then be used, as the Earthquake would then cause the ground to shatter, as Ash and Gary would return their Pokemon, as Gary would then call Ash a fool for even attempting such a move on such fragile ground, as then they would then collapse to the floor. As after the ground collapsed, Ash and Gary would be unconscious, as Ash would then stand right back up, as he would then scan his surroundings, as he would then encounter an Assyrian Growlithe, as Growlithe would be a bit territorial. The reason why an Assyrian Growlithe is here is simply because I believe in the theory that the Growlithes that we see today in the modern Pokemon world essentially came from the Growlithes from the ancient Assyria region, as they had moved to new ground across the Pokemon world, which caused them to adapt into the current Growlithes we see today. So Ash would then send out his Pidgeotto, as Assyria Growlithe would then use an Intimidate on Pidgeotto, as Pidgeotto would then use a Wing Attack regardless, which would do a decent chunk of damage but not too much, as Gareth would then use a rock tomb to slow down Pidgeotto. As another reason why this Growlithe is an Asuri Growlithe, not a modern Growlithe, is simply because there were some Growlithes that didn't have the gene to adapt to modern ones. So when the world began to change and the Pokemon went to below the surface, some stayed in their primal forms. So back to the battle. Ash, realizing that the battle would take long if it went on as it was usually, would then throw a Pokeball, which would then shake. The Pokeball would then shake again, as eventually, after a while, shaking, Gareth would be caught. Then Ash would pick up the Pokeball, as Gary would then wake up, as they would then realize that they should escape from the area that they are currently in, as they then send out the individual flying Pokemon to escape. So Geo would then begin to jump, as Pidgeotto would then fly Ash above the surface, as they then make their way to Grandpa Canyon, as they then be followed by an incredibly hungry Aerodactyl, ready for a meal, as the rocks of Grandpa Canyon would then be covered up by rocks, would then cover up the whole of the battle between both of the Nidoqueens. So Aerodactyl won't be able to go back to its slumber even if it wanted to. So Gary and Dojio would then be scared, so they would get themselves away from the violence, as Ash would decide to defend himself and his Pokemon, as Pidgeotto would then go for an attack to do decent chunk of damage on Aerodactyl. So Aerodactyl would then go for a rock slide on Pidgeotto, as Pidgeotto would then be on the floor, as it would then begin to glow, as it would evolve into a Pidgeot, as Pidgeot would use a Steel Wing, which would increase the defense of Pidgeot, as Aerodactyl would then use an ancient power, as it would then go for an Aerial Ace on Pidgeot, which would knock back Pidgeot, as Pidgeot would then use another Steel Wing, which would increase the defense of Pidgeot again, as Aerodactyl would then go for a Giga Impact, as Pidgeot would then use its Steel Wings, as the Steel Wings would intercept the Giga Impact, but it would be obvious that the Giga Impact would eventually overwhelm the Steel Wings, as Aerodactyl and Pidgeot began to put more and more energy, as Ash would then go for a Gust to try and negate the Giga Impact, but the Gust would be too weak, so Ash would tell Pidgeot to put more energy into it, as the Gust would eventually become a Hurricane, as Pidgeot had learned a Hurricane, as Hurricane would finish off Aerodactyl, as Aerodactyl was knocked out. As after the battle, Ash will return Pidgeot satisfied that he had learnt 2 new moves. He had learnt Steel Wing in the heat of battle to save everyone, and he had learnt Hurricane to finish off Aerodactyl. As a Pokeball from afar would be thrown, as Pokeball would absorb Aerodactyl, as Pokeball would shake, and shake again until Pokeball had caught Aerodactyl, as Gary walked towards the Pokeball and pick it up, as Ash would then angrily say that Gary stole his bounty and that he was the one who defeated Aerodactyl, as Gary would say that he was the one who threw the Pokeball and that it's now his Pokemon and there's nothing Ash can do about it, as Gary would then turned towards Ash smugly, whilst mildly calling him Ashy Boy and saying that he's always going to be his number 2, that he should just sit behind and just let him do his thing. As Ash would then say that Gary was the one who was too scared to even defend himself from Aerodactyl, so he isn't no number 1, as then they would continue to argue until it would finish. They would say that the argument wasn't worth his time, so then leave. Brock would then tell Ash that it's not a big issue and that he still has a better flying type than Pidgeot. Instead, Ash would then ask Pidgeot if he wanted to fly him to Cinnabar Island, as Pidgeot had evolved and could fly both him and Brock to Cinnabar Island, and that the ferry would take a bit longer than it would take by flying with Pidgeot. And Ash would say that it was completely up to Pidgeot if he wanted to do it, and Pidgeot, wanting to serve and help his trainer, would nod and agree. As then, Pidgeot would then tell Ash and Brock to get on its back in Pokemon Talk, as we then soar through the skies up Mach 2 speed, as they would quickly make their way towards Cinnabar Island, a lot faster than they would have on the ferry, as they would then get off of Pidgeot, as Ash would return Pidgeot, as him and Brock would then make their way into Cinnabar Gym, where they would meet a Blaine who would ask them a few riddles, but after Brock solved them after a bit of a while, Brock would go a step back and allow Ash to battle. As then, Growlithe, excited for battle, would send itself out of its pool, as they would then send out his Arcanine, as he wanted to see what Ash's ancient Hisui Growlithe that he recognized to be ancient would do against the Cantonian Arcanine, as both Pokemon's Intimidates would be effective against each other, as the faster and more experienced Arcanine would go for a Flamethrower on Growlithe, which, because it was much stronger, would do a lot more than it usually would to a Rock and Fire type. So Growlithe would then go for a Rock Tomb, which wouldn't slow down Arcanine. But then Arcanine would surprisingly be slowed down, as then Ash would then pick up his encyclopedia and try to see what moves that Growlithe could use. So the moves would be Fire Fang, as Arcanine would then use a Flame Wheel, as the Fire Fang would back Growlithe, as Growlithe was trying to defeat Arcanine, but the strength and experience advantage of the ancient Arcanine, not ancient, but the modern Arcanine would allow Arcanine to overwhelm Growlithe. So Growlithe would then try to go for a Fire Fang again, but it would then be finished off with a Fire Blast. As Ash would then send out his Seadra, Seadra would then go for a Hydro Pump for a lot of damage, as Seadra would be quickly knocked out by a Wild Charge, as Ash, completely defeated, would then leave to go and heal his Pokemon. As the next day, after all his Pokemon had gotten a full day of healing, he would decide that he should try and get Growlithe stronger, as he would then send out Growlithe, as Growlithe would then be excited, as he wanted another battle and wanted a rematch against Arcanine, as Ash would propose the Firestone to Growlithe, and Growlithe really wanting to beat Arcanine so bad, and knowing that at its current level it wouldn't be able to beat Arcanine, and that the short-term solution was evolution, it would immediately make contact with its tone, which would cause it to grow in size and evolve into an Hisui Arcanine. As Brock would then get Arcanine's attention and give it a tip, saying that it should try and focus more of its rock-type energy into the Rock Tomb, so it can create more rocks and that it will cause a more powerful move than Rock Tomb. As Arcanine would take the advice, as Ash would then return Arcanine. As on the way to the Cinnabar Gym, Ash would ask what Brock meant, as Brock would say that he was trying to help Arcanine learn Rock Slide, and that was one of the ways he was able to train one of his stronger rock types, being Golem, to be able to learn the move. As Brock would then make his way with Ash into the Cinnabar gym, where Blaine would ask if Ash was back for another beating, as Ash would say that this time he was gonna win, as his Pokemon was stronger, as would then be Hisui Arcanine versus Cantonian Arcanine, as both intimidates would level the attacks of both Pokemon, as Arcanine would use a Wild Charge to cause recoil or decent damage, as Hisui Arcanine would heed Brock's advice, as it would use a Rock Slide for a lot of damage, as this would flinch Cantonian Arcanine, which would allow Hisuian Arcanine to land a Flamethrower on the Cantonian Arcanine, as they then both hit each other with Fire Blast and Rock Slide respectively, which would knock out Cantonian Arcanine, as the move is super effective, but Hisuian Arcanine would still be standing, as Blaine would then say that the strength gained by the evolution was incredibly impressive, and that Arcanine has a lot of potential, as would then be Hisuian Arcanine against Magmar, being Blaine's strongest Pokemon, as Blaine would then land a Thunder Punch with his Magmar on Hisuian Arcanine, as Hisuian Arcanine would then use a Rock Slide, which would do a lot of damage on Magmar. As Magmar would then go for a Thunder Punch to paralyze Hisuian Arcanine and knock it into the air with a barrage Hisuian Arcanine with multiple Thunder Punches to do a lot of damage, to then finish off Hisuian Arcanine with a Fire Blast. As Magmar would then step back, as Ash would then send in his Seadra, as even though it didn't look like it, Hisuian Arcanine had done a lot of damage to Magmar, so all Seadra had to do was land a Bubble Beam and the battle was over. Ash returned Seadra happy with its performance, as Blaine would then give Ash the badge and say that Ash was a strong trainer who did incredibly well in this battle, as I think I should just leave it here. So, this video took a lot of time and effort, so I hope everyone enjoys it. Bye.